Go ahead. Go ahead, President Rothman. Thank you.
Great. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being with us today. Before we talk about where the actions we're taking relative to the two-year branch campuses today, I wanted to say that our universities are undergoing some trying times. We are facing several challenges, and the employees of the universities of Wisconsin are being impacted. Whether it's layoffs and furloughs, changes at our branch campuses, which I'll talk about today, or uncertainty over their wages, I recognize that it is an extraordinarily difficult time for our employees. I'm so proud of their dedication to our mission, which is the student success that improves lives, changes the trajectory of lives, and serves as really building the lifeblood for the economic vibrancy of the state of Wisconsin. With that, let me cover what we're doing with the branch campuses. I'm announcing today that we are closing the UW-Platteville Richland two-year campus and ending in-person instruction at UW-Milwaukee at Washington County and UW-Oshkosh at Fond du Lac, that campus. Students enrolled in those two campuses will be offered enrollment at our other universities and transitioned appropriately. I've also directed chancellors overseeing the remaining two-year branch campuses to work with local officials to determine the best uses for facilities to meet not only student needs, but also the needs of the region. These actions are a result of my earlier directive that chancellors assess the viability of their two-year branch campuses and is consistent with what we laid out in our strategic plan. The purpose of these actions is to align our branch campuses to current market realities and to prepare for the future. I anticipate the conversations with local leaders will conclude by early spring of 2024 with a viable path forward for the remaining branch campuses. Those paths could include continuing to offer two-year degrees, offering four-year and graduate degrees, upskilling and reskilling opportunities for the existing workforce, expanding dual enrollment for high school students, and opening navigation centers for high school and non-traditional students seeking guidance on their university journey. And with that, I would welcome any questions that you may have.
Kimberly, can you kick us off?
Yeah, so when you say that you are closing the UW-Richland campus, what exactly does that entail? Does that mean you will be ending the lease? Any future negotiations with county leaders? What does that look like?
What that looks like, Kimberly, is that we will exit. We will no longer have a physical presence at that location. We have maintained that physical presence since last year. We are continuing to work with Richland County to define a path forward to exit the lease.
Kelly.
Did you say Kelly, Mark? Sorry.
I did.
Okay. That's what I thought. Thanks. So it looks like two branch campuses have enrollment that's smaller than Fond du Lac and Washington County. And both of their current enrollment is like 4 times what Richland was when the decision was made there to end in-person instruction. So can you help me understand the decision-making process for these two campuses in particular?
Absolutely. As it relates to Washington County, as you know, Kelly, there was a task force that was formed in Washington County that included both business, governmental, and civic leaders. And I think the result of that task force was the conclusion that the continued presence of the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee at Washington County was not in the best interests of the county moving forward, and that their needs for education could be dealt with through other means, whether that's through the tech college or through online programs. We will continue our conversations with Washington County about maintaining a presence there, perhaps not at the existing location, but to provide perhaps a navigation center where students or prospective students can come in and get guidance on universities and how to apply and what has to take place and FAFSA completion and those types of things. As it relates to Fond du Lac, again, the chancellor at UW-Oshkosh has had a number of conversations with the Fond du Lac County executive. And I think with those conversations, and particularly looking at the proximity between Oshkosh and Fond du Lac, it's 15 miles or so. Given the availability of online education and given that close proximity, we concluded that campus would be appropriate for us to transition in-person learning from that campus.
Emily.
So you mentioned the task force that was formed by the Washington County Executive that recommended merging UW-Washington County with Moraine Park Technical College. But there was also a task force from UWM that looked at the future of Washington County, and it recommended merging Washington County's operations with UWM. So could you just explain more about, was this a recommendation of Chancellor Mone or of the UWM campus, or was this kind of a response to the sentiment from the county government?
I think we considered all of the input that we received, but I think we need to step back a little bit. If we look at all of our branch campuses, if you look at their enrollment numbers over the last 10 years, they have been declining fairly significantly. They declined again into this year at most of the branch campuses, not all, but at most of the branch campuses, our enrollment across the system went up for the first time since 2014. And particularly when you look at the freshman class in the non-Madison schools being up in the aggregate, up 3%. I think that's the market is telling us that the mission of the two-year branch campuses is not as attractive to prospective students as it once was. And we really want to enter into conversations with the counties about how we can best position ourselves moving forward, how we can serve the needs of the region, how we can serve the needs of the prospective students in those areas. But we do need to look at a different model, because the market is telling us the model that is currently in place is not functioning as well as it needs to be.
Kayla.
What will happen to the faculty and staff who currently work at these branch campuses?
We will go through a process. I've directed the chancellors, at least at those two campuses. Part of the planning that they will go through is how to deal with faculty. Certainly, we will respect tenure as we always have in those circumstances. And the chancellors will have the responsibility of figuring out the best way to transition that in-person learning, and that also includes of how our faculty and staff will be treated through this process.
Todd, Richmond.
Yeah, Jay, I'm a little confused about Richland's status. I mean, you announced in November it was going to close. Last November it was going to close. Now you seem to be announcing again that it will close. And I thought the last I had seen that the campus actually did close at the end of the spring semester 2023. What is the status there? I'm a little confused.
Yeah, no, I absolutely understood that. I mean, what happened was we announced the transition of in-person learning away from Richland, and that occurred. We continued to maintain a presence there, though. We had people there, and what the next step that we're taking with my announcement today is to actually officially exit that campus entirely.
Rich.
With regard, well, I was wondering if you're aware of the Joint Committee on Employee Relations vote today. They took action on pay raises except for the UW system. And as you know, Assembly Speaker Robin Voss says that not another nickel going to the UW system or the universities of Wisconsin unless DEI is dismantled. We just saw a story, and that there's some DEI programs changing at some universities. Just wondering if you can comment on those changes at those universities, whether the system is looking at any types of changes, across the board, and, what your thoughts are on the assembly vote today, or the JCOER vote.
Our students expect and deserve a world-class education that our faculty and staff work hard every single day to deliver. I am extraordinarily proud of the work our faculty and staff do to help make a better Wisconsin. And quite frankly, it is unprecedented to withhold pay from tens of thousands of working families, as was done today. Well, we are beyond disappointed at this point. We're not going to give up being advocates for the work that our faculty and staff do, because it changes the trajectory of people's lives. It is unfair and not right to leave the families of those faculty and staff behind. I was really heartened by Senator Markline's comments during the hearing today that he does not think our staff should be penalized for policy decisions. And I think there are constituents across the state of Wisconsin that feel that same way.
Adam, with politics, and this may need to be the last question. We have another set of interviews in just a couple of minutes. So go ahead, Adam, and this will be the last question.
Hi, Jay. I just want to mention I did not mean to clap hands earlier. I was trying to raise my hand. But,
I thought that was a particularly good answer, Adam. I'm disappointed now.
I also had a question on the Joker committee hearing today. So Assembly Speaker Robin Voss said that he's been talking with the University of Wisconsin about the pay raises issue. And he said he proposed a plan to give pay raises to UW employees as long as the University of Wisconsin agrees to not create any new positions without legislative authority. And he said that the University of Wisconsin kind of rejected that proposal. Do you have any thoughts on that proposal from Voss?
Yeah, I'm going to respect the ongoing conversations that I'm having with the legislature generally at this point.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us today, everybody. Feel free to fire off additional questions to me later in the day if you have them. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.